Guys, before we begin, make sure that you get your notebooks out, take notes, and if anything that you use right now you're having a problem with, make sure you call into our live show on Wednesday night, where we can go ahead and guide you or make the proper adjustments that you need to understand what I'm about to teach you right now. You see, guys, in the game of life, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to anything, everything is a competition. The best man will always come out on top. But even when they think the best man's gonna come on top, there's a loophole in the game which I want to show you guys, and how you can defeat your competition. You see, most of you guys out there are worried about the other man, and we will work towards fixing that. But what I want you to understand in all of this is that there's always going to be competition. But what if I told you we could use the competition to give us a benefit? Not only a benefit, but using the competition to give us a one-up on the competition to make her look towards us versus the competition. Regardless of how tall the guy is, regardless of how much money he makes, regardless of how good he looks, it doesn't start there. Everything starts by the way you communicate to a woman and how she responds to the communication that you send to her. And here's the beautiful thing. Most guys out here communicate one way. And what I'm going to do is break down the advantages of 4 different ways that you can communicate to a woman that you will show her when she compares you to the competition, that she's going to find more interest in you versus the generic, boring man. But in order to do that, we got to understand positioning and understand what I call the rule of the dress. You see, the dress doesn't go out and put a gun to the woman's head to get her to invest in the dress. What the dress does is it positions itself. Well, the store owner positions the dress. So more than likely the dress will be seen in front of the shop. Now the woman walking into the store, or walk by the store, she's gonna notice the dress. Now, she's not gonna necessarily buy the dress in the beginning, but the dress is going to intrigue her enough to go in there and look at the price of the dress. That's the first thing, looking at the price of the dress. Now, even though she looks at the price of the dress, she might not want to buy, but it's going to weigh her in her mind because there's something inside of her that says, if you get this dress, this is going to take away some of your insecurities. But remember, there's an internal battle going on. So the next time she goes into that store or that mall and she sees that dress again, she's not necessarily going to buy the dress. She's going to take the dress off the rack and walk over to the mirror and place the dress in front of her just to see how it might look on her. But she still doesn't invest in the dress. It usually takes the 3rd or 4th time when she goes into the store and she decides, you know what, let me go into the fitting room and put the dress on to see how it not only feels with it on me, but how do I feel inside of the dress. And that's the buy-in. You see, gentlemen, the dress never pushed the woman. It was the behavior of the woman that made her want the dress more. And it is the same thing I'm going to teach you right now when it comes to using your competition to get what you want, the girl. You see, gentlemen, most of you guys think because a woman is talking to a guy online, or she's going out on a date, or she's texting some guy, meaning, or she's doing anything with a guy, most of you guys will automatically assume that you have no chance, even if they're having the best time in the world. And that's not true. Remember, guys, it's how you communicate and how she responds. And here's the beautiful thing about what I'm about to teach you guys. The only way a woman can respond to the average guy is through text messaging. That's it. It is her to him, him to her, and that is the only level most guys go on because that's all they know about the game. You remember, gentlemen, I have 4 ways of showing you. I always call it land, sea, air, space. Land is basically text messaging. C is how you use voice message. Air is video, and I call space going live. So I'm going to give you 3 extra ways to communicate with women. See, what's going to happen is, just like the woman looking at that dress, she's going to look at and weigh not only the information that you send to her, but how she responds to the information. You see, a lot of women are not used to going beyond the average text message with a normal guy, because that's all he can communicate. That's all he knows how to communicate. And when you meet a woman, even though she may know something, because gentlemen, every woman that you meet has a guy that's interested in her, or there's a guy that she's interested in. She could be a woman that's married. She could be a woman living with somebody. And see, this is what a lot of guys don't understand. Regardless of the woman's situation, it does not matter, because if you can trigger blushing, thinking, reacting, smiling, and thinking out of that woman based off how you communicate, you're going to draw her to you, just like the woman being drawn into the dress. You see, the average guy out there, all he does is text message, and there's not too much, there's not really anything special about sending words back and forth. But gentlemen, when you begin to change the game up on how you communicate, that means when you start to send a voice message, what's going to happen is it's going to be totally different, something intriguing. But it's not only is going to be different, but she is also going to keep playing it over and over again, because it's something brand new. It's something unique. It's something that, out of all the guys that she's talked to or dated, none of them have ever used a voice message to communicate with her. And what she's going to do is she's going to find some fun in that, because, wow, I get to hear his voice. So you know what? Let me return serve and start to send him my voice back. See, she's going to become more intrigued with just that second part of communication versus the average guy that sends a text message and also sends the emojis. You see, gentlemen, when you hit her from C using the voice message, that is something that she can play over and over and over again. Think about it, you are administering the drug of you. We would say this is something maybe like marijuana, not that I taking drugs, I'm just saying it's a light drug, but it will give her a certain kind of a high, because it's something that she's never experienced before. Now, the next level of this is what I call air, and that's the video message. You see, what's beautiful about the video message is not only is she not expecting the voice message, but when you send a video message, she is going to play that over and over again, because she's trying to figure out who you are and why you communicate that way, and is she the only woman that you communicate that way with? And when you begin to send the video messages to her, she will return serve. Now, later on in other videos, we'll talk about how you can use the video as well as going online to get her to masturbate. Hell, they'll even masturbate even through voice message. But right now, what we want to do is show you how you can use your competition to get the girl. You see, gentlemen, if your competition is only texting a woman and you are going from voice message to video to voice to text to video to text to voice, and you keep switching it up, what she's going to begin to do is she's going to compare notes. She's going to ask herself internally, who am I thinking about more? Who is separating himself from all the other guys out there? And it is the one that is going to be the most unique. See, we want you to still have a sense of self, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to show the woman that you can communicate with her on a different level from any other guy out there. Remember, even you right now, for some of you, all you do is send text messages and you're wondering why it's not going anywhere. Because if you're doing the same thing like your competition, it's at that point there's a stalemate. And then it's when she begins to look for other things to kind of see who has more, who tips the scale, so to speak. But right now, what I'm showing you, you can tip the scale by the way you can communicate in the beginning. You see, guys, you can't feel a blush, a smile through a text message, but she can feel that through a voice message, because that's going to send a different signal than her just reading the text message. And then she can see the sincerity in you when you send the video message. But what that's going to do is that's going to begin to train her to start to reply back to you. Remember, I told you, it's the way you communicate and the way she responds to your communication. So gentlemen, what I want you to do is I want you to take this information that I'm telling you right now. When you are talking to a woman, even if you're texting her right now, you can change everything up by starting to send the voice messages. From the voice messages at first, I'm telling you right now, when you start sending the voice message, she's going to begin to keep sending you text messages, because you've got to train her to say, okay, you know what? Have her, because a lot of women don't like their voices sometimes, but when you begin to train her right, she's going to start to send voice messages. From the voice messages, you go back down to a text message. Then from the text message, you move up to a video message. And see, gentlemen, when you keep changing the way you communicate, you're not going to be stale. It is going to be at that point she bypasses putting the dress in front of her body. What she's going to do is she's going to want to put the dress on in the dressing room, meaning she's saying, okay, well, you know what? If you communicate different from every other guy that I know, what else is there about you? There's more to you, and I want to know that. Meaning, it's that point where she wants to pull your curtain back, and she wants to know what's behind your curtain. She wants to know about the man that is so different, so unique. So he can communicate in so many different ways. She's thinking in her head, how many women do you have? She's thinking in her head, what do I have to do to go ahead and begin to maneuver myself to draw his attention? Because a man who can communicate like this and can bring things out of me without laying a finger on me is a kind of man that I don't mind giving the sex to versus the competition. Now remember, guys, she will begin to use the other guy for the dinners, for the drinks, but she will use you for the flirting and the sex. Why? Because just because the competition might not be able to text well, women are savvy enough to be able to take a guy and put him on a roster and use him the way she sees fit without giving sex. But for you, you're showing her that I'm different from everybody else. There's something about me that's different. You're not trying to pretend to be a man. You're not trying to be different. This is just showing her that not only can you communicate on a level of texting, but your creativity goes beyond the text message. And once a woman can see how you are outside the bedroom, she's going to start to form a thought in her head of how you can be in the bedroom. And that's when the flirting is going to start on her end, when she knows she feels sexually safe or comfortable enough to start returning the serve the way you want it to. So remember, guys, start the process right now. If you're texting a woman right now, start to use the voice messages. Start to use the video messages. And listen, this is how I got you covered. If you're using the voice and using the video and you're still having problems with that woman, I can get you straight on our live video shows on Wednesday. Let me know the text message. I'll go a cappella. There's not one person in this game that's doing it like I'm doing it. But you have to remember, guys, land is the texting, C is voice message, air is going to be the video, and space is going live. We don't want to push going live yet because we want to get you in the process to feel comfortable with using voice message and video. The key to all of this is you being the one constant that can communicate in several different ways. The more you can communicate in several different ways, the more you're going to make that woman more interested in you. So remember, guys, just practice it. If you're not sure right now, go in the mirror. If you're not sure, write a text message and then practice it with your voice and practice it on video before you send it out so you can feel comfortable enough. Because if there's any nervousness, if there's any anxiety in this, she's going to get turned off. So what I'm saying is that this is a very tight rope you're walking here. If you're going to go down this lane, you're going to have to be man all the way. You're going to have to be 100% standing on what you're saying. So texting, voice, and video. If you can do that, you can utilize the competition's text messaging to get her to have more interest in you, because the man that can communicate more than one way with a woman is the kind of man a woman wants to be with, because at that point she says there's more to you than meets the eye. And the only way I can find out is by starting to get to know him more in an intimate way. So remember, guys, use the texting, use the voice, use the video. And at the end of the day, if you're having any problems or you're having any issues, hit me up on Wednesday. Put the text message in the chat room or call the live show. Let me know and I will help you from that point. I'm here to meet you halfway. You just got to meet me on the other half. Communication is the key, but it's also how she responds to your communication, gentlemen.